Good afternoon. I'd just like to say it's an honor to be able to talk to a distinguished group of people that are here today. And I'd also like to thank my colleagues for the presentations they've done. They've been excellent. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Richard Johns, and I have been in the law enforcement and security field for almost 20 years. I'm a First Nations law enforcement officer. I've been doing that for almost 10 years. And I'm also an auxiliary Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer, and I've been doing that for almost 9 years now. Before law enforcement, I was a corrections officer at a maximum security facility. I was security supervisor for one of the largest shopping centers in Canada, and prior to that, I was the owner of a private security investigating business with 40 security officers and private investigators. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be talking about auxiliary policing in Canada. So in Canada, there are 3 levels of police services. There is the city, which is the local police. There is provincial, which is usually like conservation officers. And then there's federal, which is like border services officers, and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The role of the auxiliary police in Canada are to accompany regular officers on patrol and to do community policing. The auxiliary police officers wear uniforms similar to the regular members. The only difference is usually on the arms or across the chest it has the word auxiliary. Auxiliary police officers in Canada, we're not armed, but we are trained in firearms, and when I talk about the training a little bit, I'll explain that. So just some quick facts. The majority of police departments in Canada have auxiliary police officers. The province of Ontario has the largest concentration of auxiliary police officers. There's more than 5,000 auxiliary police officers in Canada, and they contribute close to 1 million hours a year for their volunteer time. Now, if you think about that, that is allowing 1 million hours of time that regular police officers can concentrate on more serious criminal matters. The other thing too is if you put a conservative dollar value on that, the average police officer would earn approximately $40 an hour. So if you multiply that by a million hours, that's $40 million a year that the auxiliaries are doing policing. That's saving the cost for the regular police services. So the value of the auxiliary police officers is enormous. So I'm going to talk about some of the auxiliary policing units there are in Canada because they're spread across the country, and each one looks a little bit different, so I thought I would just kind of show you what the uniforms look like. The first auxiliary policing unit in Canada was the Windsor Police. They were established in 1952, and right now there's 85 auxiliary police officers. The largest auxiliary policing unit in Canada is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and there's 2,400 auxiliary police officers. The next largest is the Ontario Provincial Police, and they have 900 auxiliary police officers. The next one would be the Toronto Police Services. They have 340. The Quebec Provincial Police, they have 146. The York Regional Police, they have 120. The Peel Regional Police Services have 100 auxiliary police officers. The Niagara Regional Police Service, they have 75 auxiliary police officers. The Durham Regional Police, they have 50 auxiliary police officers. The Halton Regional Police, they have 50 auxiliary police officers. The Ottawa Police Service, they have 20 auxiliary police officers. And the Winnipeg Police are taking a little bit of a new approach. They're actually paying their auxiliary police officers, and they're allowing their auxiliary police officers to do what would be called like an on-call. There might be a car accident and they would need an officer to direct traffic, so they would call and have one of the auxiliaries come down there and deal with that. So that's kind of a new approach to the auxiliary policing, because most auxiliary policing, it's volunteer and you don't get paid. So I'll talk about their auxiliary training. To be an auxiliary police officer in Canada, you need to be 18 years old, good character, mature and responsible attitude, have a successful high school diploma, possess a valid driver's license, meet the minimum requirements for the fitness test, possess a first aid and CPR certification, and have no personal or professional conflict of interest with the police department. So auxiliary police officers, we train, there's 160 hours is what we have to, the course that we have to take. And that's usually done over a 4 to 6 month period, because most of the auxiliary police officers have full-time jobs, so to fit the training in is done on the weekends. And the stuff that the auxiliary police officers are learning would be the powers of arrest. Other topics would be the Canadian Criminal Code, traffic and crowd control, search and rescue, and defensive tactics. And like mentioned before, auxiliary police officers in Canada, we do not carry firearms, but as we are on patrol with the regular members who do carry firearms, if something serious happened to the regular officer, you know, God forbid that they were shot, with us being trained in the firearms, we would be able to take that firearm out of the holster of the regular police officer and be able to defend his life, or deal with a serious situation. Again, that's far and few between. I mean, in the past 20 years, I can even think of one situation that would occur. But again, it's just add a little extra security, so to speak, when we're out there, because I mean, it is a dangerous place that we live in. So Canadian auxiliary police officers are authorized to accompany regular members, and some of the things that they do is securing crime scenes, administrative duties, special duties. I'll explain that a little bit more in detail with some other slides in just a minute. Another thing that's interesting is, because Canada, we've got the ocean on either side, we have lakes, mountains, rivers, so depending on where you're stationed, you might be asked to do other duties. For instance, if you're stationed on the coastline or by a large lake and there's a marine unit, you would be doing boat patrol. Another thing that's very interesting is where I'm stationed, we have a lot of mountains, so we have a helicopter. So 2 of our auxiliary officers are trained in the FLIR camera system, which is night vision. So when the helicopter goes up, one of the auxiliaries goes up in the helicopter and he operates the night vision camera. And an interesting thing about that is, because we have an auxiliary police officer up in the helicopter operating the camera, that allows a full-time regular police officer to actually be on the ground instead of up in the helicopter and being able to do more serious criminal prevention on the ground. Every year we have to contribute at least 160 hours. And if you think about that, that's roughly 10 hours a month. Plus each month we have to do our monthly meeting. And the nice thing about where I am, the monthly meeting, the gentleman who's in charge of the auxiliary constables, he tries to get us additional training every month. So we may have somebody from the drug enforcement department come in, and they would give us some additional information on drug talk. So we might do some extra self-defense training. So with us, we're constantly training. Now the thing is, I mean, it's 160 hours, but we have auxiliary officers who put in 500 hours a year because their schedule allows them to do that, and we have quite a few officers who actually do that. Myself, I do between 200 and 250 hours. So the RCMP are just rolling out this year a new 3-tier or 3-level training, and there's a Tier 1, and this is for to help with officer safety, and I'll explain that in just a minute. Tier 1, the auxiliary would be wearing a pair of like dress pants and like a golf shirt, and he would go and he would do like maybe safety talks in the community. And Tier 2, he would have full police uniform and full equipment, and he would do traffic control, crowd control, so it would be a little more out in the public. And Tier 1 and Tier 2, what that's kind of allowing is when you're volunteering, you have people who are, you know, doctors, lawyers, you have librarians, and some of these people want to get into the auxiliary policing and want to do something for the community, but they're kind of going, I don't want to have to tackle a 240-pound guy. That's not what I'm in here for. I'm in here for the more educational things and more going out and dealing with the public. So the RCMP now have a tier 3 in there where you have got the full auxiliary police training. You have defensive tactics, you're carrying all the equipment, you're going on patrols with the regular members, and you have the firearms training. So again, it allows flexibility for a person wanting to join. I can do level 1, level 2, or level 3. So a part of our job as auxiliary police officers is crime prevention. I'm going to be going over some of the crime prevention that we do. One of the biggest things for crime prevention is we go out on patrol. And we patrol with a regular member, or we'll go out with 2 auxiliaries and patrol. And these are some of the transportation we use. We use boats, SUVs, we use police cars, we use helicopters, bike patrol, all-terrain vehicles, and we even have, where I am, we have mountains with the snow, so we actually have auxiliaries who are trained and they go on ski patrols. So another thing that we do is fraud programs. One of the fraud programs we do is we go and identify an issue that's happening in the community, and we come up with a solution. So one of the problems we were having was pin pad fraud, and what the criminals were doing, were going into businesses, and they would take a pin pad and they would put Bluetooth technology in it and swap it out for the original pin pad that was at the business, and then that information would be transmitted to a box that was out about a block away, and then all the criminal would have to do is come up with a computer and download the information from the box in the computer. So what we did is we got hold of a couple of the pin pads that have been tampered with, and we started going around to the businesses, showing them what it looked like to have a tampered pin pad, and that made them more aware. So if they noticed a pin pad, they could call us and we could help catch the criminal, because obviously they've left the tampered pin pad there. Another program that we were doing was counterfeit money program. We had the Bank of Canada come in and give all of us auxiliaries a training on how to detect counterfeit money, and then they gave us packages, and then we went out to the businesses. We gave these packages out, and we were able to explain to the businesses on how to detect counterfeit money. Other programs that we do is we go out to the schools and we talk to the children, and we do internet safety, Halloween safety, summer safety, street safety programs. Other things that we do is we go to the schools and we talk about bullying, we talk about alcohol awareness, we talk about drugs. And the one thing that I was lucky was when I joined the auxiliary RCMP, the place where I was stationed at, they had this, but they didn't have a proper program. So I said I would like to run with this program and be able to build upon it. And they said, sure, that would be nice, because it would make us look a lot more professional. So I was able to develop 21 different presentations on bullying and alcohol awareness and drug awareness and summer safety and senior citizen safety. And now when we go out, I do the talks. And if I'm not available to do a talk, the PowerPoint presentation is set up easy, so another auxiliary can take that PowerPoint presentation and go out and do the talk, and everything looks consistent, and we're getting the same information out there. So another thing that the auxiliaries we do is if there is a major crime and there's video footage, the regular member who's in charge of that case will go out and get all the video footage. Now sometimes there's thousands and thousands of hours of video footage. So what they'll do is they will get all this video footage, set up the computers, and we'll have 10 auxiliary police officers there, and we'll go through all these thousands of hours of video, and we'll find what they're looking for. They might be looking for a black truck, a gentleman in a red jacket. So we go through all this footage and we find things that look like that. And we condense everything down to like maybe 10 or 15 hours of all this information. Now that allows the regular police officer in charge of the case to only spend 10 hours to go through, and he's looking at the specific stuff that he wants. And again, that's freeing up the regular members. Instead of having 10 regular police officers looking at this video footage, you have those 10 officers out doing some more serious work while the auxiliaries are looking after checking the video footage. In 2003, there were devastating fires in British Columbia, and 50,000 people had to be evacuated. Again, in 2009, we have devastating fires, and people had to be evacuated again. And the auxiliaries were very important with that, because I remember when we got, when it came on the news that there was a major fire and everybody was being dispatched, I didn't wait for the call. I put on my uniform and I went down to the local police station. And when I arrived, I was surprised there were 20 other auxiliaries in their uniforms with their equipment ready to go without even getting the call. And so we have 20 officers, and we went out right away, and we were doing it until they started getting the regular officers in, and then we just kept going from there. And over 100 auxiliary officers from our area came, and we were doing things like, when you had to evacuate the people, we had to get them out. Now their homes are left there, and there's nobody watching, so we were patrolling, making sure nobody was breaking into their houses. We were doing things like getting drinking water into the firefighters. We were doing things like there were animals that were trapped in their homes, so we were escorting their animal rescue units in to get the animals and then getting them back out. And that's the thing that was quite amazing was, I mean, that's 100 auxiliary police officers, and the first thing they thought was their community. They explained, and I had to explain to my family, I'm sorry, I made sure that they were safe and out of the area, but I said I have to go back in there and I have to make sure everyone else is safe. And my family understands the job that I do as an auxiliary police officer, so they said, no problem, we're safe, you just have to be safe. So that's the thing, I mean, the auxiliary police officers went in there, left their families, and once they were safe, and then got the rest of the community out. And I mean, that's what auxiliary policing is. Auxiliary policing is making the community safe. And as auxiliary police officers, that's our main goal. We join to help make the community safe for our family and our friends. So I just want to thank you for listening to me today. And like I said, it was an honor to be able to speak to you. I'll be here. You'll be able to see me. So if you have any questions, just please ask. Thank you very much.